Hello, everyone. Welcome to the second session of the Record Collection. I am your androgynous android game show host from the future, Nathan Blades, and this is a game that I have designed, Wandering Spark. With me are two fantastic guests who are very, very patient and will mercifully reintroduce themselves for the chat and everybody listening, since we had some small technical difficulties. We're going to go in reverse order this time. We have a very special guest from the Very Random Encounter podcast. We have Wheels. Hi, hello.
Hey, I'm Wheels. I do Very Random Encounters. It's a tabletop role-playing game, actual play podcast. They need a shorter way to describe that genre. But I'm from that. I also do Got It Memorized, and I was on Interstitial when that was a podcast that existed.
Indeed.
They and them pronouns for me, by the way.
Absolutely. They are. I made sure in advance to make sure that they are below in the stream. Doobly-doo.
Wonderful.
Goodness, the number of times there's a complete tangent instead of introducing people, because talking about this amuses me. I'm trying really hard to make sure that the characters and NPCs in all the games I run are really diverse, so I have a wide range of pronouns for everybody involved. And then occasionally I will. I have to make cue cards for them because I will forget the names of the pronouns of the characters that I invent. And initially, I was kind of like, oh no, is this like internalized queerphobia? Am I screwing up? God. And then in an entirely separate session, I managed to call somebody's like lance a sword 3 times in a row. It's like, no, I'm just an idiot. It's fine. But my guests, including this returning champion of the stream, are definitely not idiots. Welcome, Will Yule, once again to the spot.
Yes. Hi, hello. My name is Will Yule. Pronouns they, them, as you can see below. I am a tabletop RPG developer and Owl Witch. You can check out my work later. Indeed,
we are absolutely going to do shameless plugs at the end. Actually, let's do a quick shameless plug sort of now. Under this show was going to be like done just anyway. Both I and 2 of my really good tabletop design friends happen to make really cool lo-fi games. So I'm like, oh no, I should run them all as a set. We scheduled it up. And then everybody collectively realized that racism is garbage and ACAB.
Then the world happened.
Yeah, so, I figured I don't have either the fame nor the technical chops to make this like a charity stream with big donation appears and trackers and all of that. But thank you, everybody who's listening to this now and in the future and maybe in the past if you're a time traveler, to support queer black art. I love that for you. If listening to this prompts you to want to kind of give back to the community and people fighting for the right to exist every day, in the Twitch doobly-doo, Will has linked the blacklivesmatters.card that has a list to all sorts of wonderful people and organizations you can donate to try and make the world less of a dumpster fire. But with that...
I call that a shameless plug. I really want to know how you could possibly make donating to an incredible cause a shameful plug.
Wheels, real talk, there is this weird kind of energy of black creatives at the moment. We are going to play a tabletop eventually, but it doesn't matter for now. Well, we're just vibing. Black creatives at the moment being like, oh man, under current circumstances, we've actually got more visibility than we've ever had before. That's really great. I love people that are looking at my art. The reason why, though... And is there now a pressure on me to make sure that I am doing the educating and the sharing of the resources? I guess, maybe. But yeah, we're just trying to make sure that everybody gets to enjoy... some joy and rebellion in a world that's kind of difficult at the moment. So please enjoy this brief tale of adventure, learning about ourselves and rebellion in a future not unlike our own, except there are cool robots in it. Speaking of which, let's go play some Wandering Spark, yeah?
Let's do it up.
Mm-hmm. So, this game is specifically, I was inspired by the various animes of Shinichiro Watanabe, who famously did the likes of Cowboy Bebop and Samurai Champloo, but also some smaller but really cool projects like Resonance and Terror and Carole and Tuesday and Kids on the Slope, which is about Japanese jazz musicians in the 50s that it owns. Yeah, they're all flavored with an undercurrent of a really deep appreciation of music, but also often are about a group of people traveling from point A to point B to point C in a series of vignettes as they get into trouble, learn a bit more about themselves and each other, and maybe find that hidden yearning they've been questing for a really long time. So we're going to be telling that kind of story today.
Road movies are the best movies.
I mean, you know, there's a reason why when Final Fantasy 15 came out, it was like, gay boy band adventure? I'm in. But yes, in this particular tale, there are of two characters, a wayward engineer and an emancipated android. I guess I'll read the box text that I wrote. I hate box text in actual video game RPGs, but it's mine, so I'm allowed to do it. You are a wayward engineer, travelling from city to city, doing odd jobs, living meal to meal, and driven to keep going by a quest that gnaws away at you. You are an emancipated android, released under servitude that you were built under, gathering new and wonderful experiences, making sense of the life you now lead. Your journey together is a free-form jazz improvisation. Will your melodies harmonize or end up as solos? So, the first thing that we have to decide is which one of you is going to be the engineer and which one of you is going to be the android.
We chatted a bit before. I think I'm taking engineer, right, Will?
Okay.
Yeah, I'm good to reclaim my role as resident robot.
Indeed. I will, I guess, add this information to... there's enough room in the stream for me to add the info as we go, but I might do that last. I'll do the writing down of all this information first and then type it up rather than trying to live type and do it badly. Okay, so first we're going to decide together, so both of you kind of collaborate on the answering these questions. Your names, your initial occupations, and how you first met.
Oh, names are the hardest part.
We can do the names last if it's real bad.
Yeah.
So, initial occupations. Let's see. Do we want the occupations to be working for something big, or maybe working for something small?
I like the idea of like maybe we both were working under some like small company or something, and for some reason something broke bad and we had to bounce. But like, you know, it's not like a giant legacy we're leaving, so we can kind of just bounce.
Mm-hmm.
So I just had a weird idea. So my brain first started at Radio Shack, and it went from Radio Shack to, well, first off, the idea of this is a Radio Shack that we ran, and then something happened to it, and then it
That's closed down.
I like that. I like that a lot. Yeah.
I'm thinking just to push it a little further past just Radio Shack. I think the term is hydroponics. The idea of like waterworks to fuel plants, and you know, all of that stuff for gardening.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, the idea of we used to work at a hydroponic Radio Shack, and then it, as many other Radio Shacks before it, collapsed. And
would that imply that are you saying it's a hydroponic Radio Shack in that it is technology that is run by water, or are you saying that it is like the Radio Shack equivalent of
getting all your plant cuttings, all your water pumps?
Definitely the second one.
Yeah.
But I do like the idea of like, I have a walkie-talkie. It's water cooled.
Yeah.
Nice. So I guess within this hydro shack to portmanteau, were you like joint running the place? Were you both employees underneath it? Did you guys have specific roles within this particular company before it closed?
I could see my character as like being a manager, but like that's the highest, like still someone who doesn't enjoy the circumstances, but is like in enough that they're like, well, I'm here. You know, that sort of
Mhm.
resignation of middle management, of feeling like you're stuck because you're slightly above maybe the
Mhm.
new hires.
Mhm.
Upward
I
mobility stopped a while ago, but hey, it pays rent.
hmm. I I certainly don't think I would be above you. I don't think this robot is the company owner. I think I'm I kind of feel like there was a high level of turnover at this place between
Hmm.
the low level employees, and my character was the one who, probably due to being a robot, was able to stay on for decently longer than the others.
Mhm.
Whether that's because they're super talented or because they are able to not take things as hard because, maybe
Mhm.
they're able to just switch off their emotions or
Right.
something. Mhm.
Do you think you're like in the customer service part of it?
Oh
Ooh.
God. Um, I feel like I was designed for the back end,
Mhm.
but I was forced to do both because they're like,
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
we can't hire enough people to do both to
We're
separate.
understaffed. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Which may
Yeah.
be relevant to why it collapsed.
Yeah. I think
Nice.
like I think so I think Maisie's gonna be my character's name, Maisy, and
Nice.
I think she like feels bad every time she has to ask you to like work the register because she knows it's like maybe not your jam, but it's
Mm.
like, I don't know, we got customers. I've gotta, I've gotta keep doing inventory. So it's like I feel bad every time I ask you, but I still have to do it. I think that's maybe the dynamic, if that makes sense to you.
I like it. Yeah.
Cool.
I think my character's name is Camellia, after
Mhm.
the kind of flower.
Plant. Yeah,
I'd be willing to bet that it was initially just like a serial number that maybe started with a C, and then they were like,
Ah. In that case, should I be Daisy, not Maisie?
yeah.
I mean, I'm thinking this is very much a robot chosen name thing.
Okay, okay. I'll be
Mhm.
Maisie then.
You can be Daisy if you want. Choice is yours.
I think I'll stick with Maisie.
Mhm.
I like Maisie.
What pronouns is Camellia?
They them.
Mhm.
And then I'll do she, her for Maisie.
Gotcha. And how did you two first meet?
I probably hired you, right?
Yeah, no, I think you hired me, and we worked. Oh, I think we probably worked together pretty closely during a long summer when there weren't any kids around town to lend some additional helping hand.
Yeah.
And it's the summer. All of the Karens want to buy, their new garden equipment, and all of that. So
What do you mean that you're out of the forest green hose? I didn't want bottle green. I wanted forest green. Honestly. Can't get the help around here.
Maisie's just staring at the person just blankly after having this conversation 10 times that very day.
Mhm.
She just leaves to the back.
oh man, was there like one night we had that, or just one day that we had that was just, maybe it was at the end of a really long and tough week where just the customers were relentless, the sun was incredibly hot, and I feel like after the store shut down, the two of us just had like an emotional connection when we both just bonded over like, this really sucks, but we're here for each other for this.
Yeah, I like that.
Nice. I think that moves us smoothly on to the engineer's questions. So there are 3 questions specifically for the engineer, and then there are 3 specifically for the android. While the other player can give some input or help flesh it out, you get to get the final say on what you choose. So, Maisie the engineer. What significant thing did you leave behind? I put a whole bunch of randomized tables on this document to read some of the examples that we don't have to go for. Stuff like your teacher, fame and fortune, a false murder charge.
I am going to pick from the list just to keep it simple. I'm going to do fame and fortune. I've been obsessed with the idea of, like, people talk about the 5th Beatle, and there are like 6 different people that they all call. I think Maisie is like like she was like a bassist for a band that like in high school,
Mhm.
and then she went on to she got a job and quit the band, and then the band became like a huge success. And
Nice.
but she didn't, because she she quit before they released their debut, and I think it's actually her playing the bass in the debut record, but she's not famous.
Oh man, I really like that.
There we go. Nice. What do you yearn for while on this journey?
Yeah, this is a tough one.
Some examples. Perform on the grandest stage. Enter the championship tournament. See their face again.
I think I'm probably looking for, I'm not really pulling from this list, but I think I'm looking for another occupation that I can actually care about again, because I quit this like very passion-filled career option to take a very corporate one, or very kind of mundane thing, and I think Maisie is just desperately searching for that other thing that will actually encourage her to work as opposed to just dreading it.
Yes, yearning for a job they're actually passionate about. Cool. And what are 3 directives that were built into the Android when it was built?
So if I understand this right, I am choosing for
Yes, indeed.
Will here, right? Cool. Yeah. I think I like keep things immaculate, since I feel like that fits with that's like probably why I hired you. It's like to start as like janitorial staff, and then I thought you were personable enough that you work the register sometimes, so that's 1. I like bring no harm unto others. That's 2. And then should I pick go off list for the 3rd? Probably, maybe.
Let's be spicy.
Yeah.
Go ahead, destroy me before the game even begins. I dare you.
What if you have an automatic shutdown time, like after 8 p.m. like you shut off, and like it's like your operating system or whatever like has to update every night, and you like have to shut off at 10 p.m. Let's call it 10.
Yeah, disk just goes into automatic defrag at 10 p.m.
Oh man.
Just like brains. Okay.
Must shut down at 10 p.m. Sorry, I'm just also putting it in the stream info.
I would definitely forget about them if they weren't there, unfortunately.
Oh no, writing stuff down for any tabletop RPG is paramount. It's a weird catch-22, right? Of like, oh no, players, you have to remember the stuff by writing it down. Are your players going to write it down? Never. Even I never write it.
I don't think I've ever written anything down as a GM or a player. I'm allergic.
See, that's the top tier play. Yeah. But yes, let's move to the Android questions. What function was installed into you when you were first built?
Oh, okay, so we're doing the...
Oh, sorry, yes, there's stats. I remember the rules to my own game. Yes, Maisie, you have 3 stats. Willpower, creativity, and charm. You can assign the numbers to these stats in any arrangement you like in 10, 20, and 30. So what is your strongest stat? Willpower, creativity, or charm?
Willpower
creativity. Oh, go ahead.
Willpower does describe how strong I am, so, choose wisely.
We have willpower. Creativity is going to be my strongest. Willpower is the 20, the middling one, and then charm is my lowest.
And then it's 20, and then charm is 10. We just about managed to fit all this into maybe. Well, if it gets bad, I'll drop the font size. But we've all got this it all fits in well so far. We're good. Right. Yes. Android questions.
Yes. So, what function was installed when I was built? With examples such as a mining drill, a riot shield, and a concealed firearm.
Mm-hmm.
Well, it certainly does seem like encyclopedic knowledge of plants would be the most reasonable thing to go here. Let's see, what function has been installed since my emancipation? Ooh, we've got some spicy options here. A turntable and speakers, an extendable sword, additional arms. I do enjoy the idea of additional arms, just kind of, sticking your arms out and just kind of having those arms then fan out to create. So I think I'm going to go for bonus arms.
Okay.
Were they all added at once? Like, are they all... Is it like a single bonus arm unit that you installed, or is it like over time you installed multiple additional arms as the requirement came up?
I think when I was first created, my model was kind of modular and had the option to have the multiple arms. I didn't have any of them installed, and I've just gotten more of them and installed them over time. So we'll say I have 6 arms. The 2 default arms match each other. The 4 others are all completely different from each other.
Cool.
Nice.
Let's see. What 3 odd jobs does the engineer do while traveling? Ooh. Hired. No. So I definitely do equipment repair for Maisie. That makes sense. Oh, it's got to be street busking because you used to be, used to be a bassist, and now we're
I'm the Pete Best of the future. He was a drummer, but still.
Let's see, a 3rd going off script for Maisie, reciprocating the spice. Let's see, what is something Maisie does for money while traveling?
Hired killers, right there? No.
There's a real part of me that's thinking
we can do it.
There's a part of me that's thinking minor grifting.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Not the kind of thing where you're carjacking someone, but absolutely the kind of thing where you are either tricking people out of a bit of money or pretending to be homeless when you're actually not.
Yeah, I think of, there's a guy I've seen multiple times, I think it was at the Chicago airport, who approaches people that look like they're tourists and says, "Oh no, I'm stuck here, I need," it's like that story you're told a lot of, they give you a really specific number. They're I just need $475 to get a bus ticket. I think it's that kind of thing that I do. I am not a homeless person asking for money, but I'm misrepresenting myself, pretending like I'm in a desperate need for something when I'm actually just fine.
Yeah, and then you're sweet, a muffin. So I also have something that I am yearning to do.
Yes, but do not tell anybody. Secretly write it down.
Ooh.
Androids kiss, but don't tell.
I mean, every time, weirdly enough, every time I've kind of brought this game up to kind of strangers, being so the androids kiss at the end, right? And I'm don't spoil it. But you do also have stats. You also have creativity, willpower, and charm. Unfortunately, they are all 0.
Oh no, I suck.
You have a large number of pre-programmed talents that make you valuable. We don't need your creativity. Stares into camera. Okay, and all of that fits nicely. Yay! We managed to get our character sheets in the Twitch stream without it being too much of a nightmare. Nice, cool. Yeah, we can go over the dice mechanics before we get into it. So in this game, it is a D100 game, where the idea is to roll as high as you possibly can. What you'll do is you'll roll D100, you will add your creativity, will, or charm, depending on how you're approaching the circumstance. So if you were trying to sweet talk your way into an important bar where there's a contact, you would probably be using charm. If you were to punch the bouncer so you could get inside, it would probably be will. And then if any of your talents, like your odd jobs or your directives or your equipment attachments are relevant, you get to add 15 to your roll. So you can actually roll quite high. You can also roll as a team, where one person takes point, but both of you roll D100, and the person who gets the highest in the D100 is what's used for the roll. So if you work together, statistically you're more likely to succeed, but you get a little less action economy when you work together, so you have to balance up whether you team up or split apart. I think with that, unless there are any other questions about play. Oh, I guess we can do a little bit of chat about kind of like lines and veils and X cards and so on and so forth, because talking about RPG safety in stream should be normalized, so people know that it's absolutely safe and reasonable to do those things. Under normal circumstances, if we were using the Roll20 graphical interface, I would be using Brebo Sheldon's script change system, which uses stuff like pause and rewinding and instant replay to navigate X-card situations, but with a more kind of cinematic framing. But because of the layout we have, we're probably going to stick it simple and just use the X card. For that, you can either hold up a card with an X doodled on it, put your hands in an X. If you type in an X into the Roll20 chat, because I'm keeping an eye on Streamlabs, I can't see Discord chat unless I break the webcams. So you can type an X into there, and we can pause and kind of take things back to a state where we're happy to continue. If anybody would like to take a break, because this is about emotional robot adventure, so if it happens to kind of get too heavy and people need to take a pause, absolutely fine. We get to have a pre-designated coffee break. There will be a drink and bio break partway through the show anyway, but if people need to take a break outside of that, say okay. In terms of like lines and veils, there's a lot of relatively obvious stuff that is, especially with the kind of story that we're telling, definitely not going to happen. There's not going to be any sexual abuse. There's very unlikely to be any child murder. But if there are any particular lines or veils that you would like to raise before we start, please do let me know. And if there are ones you want to put in as we go, that is also entirely fine.
I'm good for now. Yeah, nothing in particular for me.
Rock on.
Yeah. I think the only things I can think of you've either addressed, or I would be extremely surprised.
Yeah. All right. Shall we start off this tale of adventure with you guys leaving your, I guess, Hydro Shack is what I've called it now, but yeah.
I think there's like a clock that Maisie can see on the opposite side of the store from where she's standing behind the register, and she's just staring at the clock as the second hand ticks and ticks, and every time it does, she's like kind of knocking her head against a cabinet, like a second, as she's just dreading every second until she can finally leave.
The volume and reverb of the clock ticking gets louder every time. So
and I think there's probably a terrible song that is at exactly 60 beats per minute that she's banging her head along to as well.
Yeah, all the music that I've queued up for the session is back-to-back bangers, but this feels like the most like retail music I have in the list. So we'll work with this one. But yes, while there's kind of like a muffled audio of a customer waving a torn open box of let's see, Mr. Higgins brand hydro soil that is designed to increase hydroponic carrot growth by 300%. The thing is, though, he's torn the box open, so he absolutely cannot return it. But you could hear him in the background. Well, I never. God, the service here is absolutely. I'm glad that you guys are going to be closing, because honestly, I could go and get the stuff on New Amazon instead of going to an individual store like this.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, sir. Thank you, sir. Yes, sir.
Is there a manager I can speak to?
No,
No, sir, I'm sorry. The manager is currently out.
I am in the room.
I'm just picturing the manager badge is on front, and because you're facing away, I'm like, close enough. No, sir, I'm sorry. The manager is out. They can't help you right now.
And in a fit of rage, he scoops his hand into the soil, pulls out a clod of it, and just kind of throws it at Camellia. What kind of the aesthetics of the body that Camellia is in? Is it kind of like shiny Apple 2.0 smooth? Is it kind of rugged?
Ooh, last stream I went with a very chromy aesthetic. I think this time I'm going to go with something that is a little rust funkier. I do like the idea of Camellia not. No, actually, I do like the idea of Camellia having a face. But that is the only part of Camellia that looks terribly human. Everything else, it's very clear, oh yeah, you're a robot. And so as this dirt hits, Camellia doesn't even blink. What's the dirt going to do? It's not going to get in their eyes. And face just stuck on. Sir, I'm sorry we were not able to be of service. I can offer you a 20% discount on your next order. Over $50.
They chuckle. Like, I'm gonna be here to go and use that kind of thing. And they march out of the building. A little bit of time
under the front counter. There are a series of this type of turning valves that a hose would have, and Maisie just turns one as the person is walking out, and it turns on the sprinkler system right as the person is leaving, right on them.
Yeah, they are immediately there as their kind of cursing and mumbling becomes underwater filtered as they march down sopping wet down the road.
Maisie, please hand me a cup.
I grab it and I say, that hand it over. That Mr. Higgins brand that he was talking about. I went to school with Higgins' grandson. Did you know that?
No, I didn't.
Hated him. Untitled sack of shit.
It is a kind of dog shit brand. That doesn't necessarily surprise me.
I love that Camellia can curse.
Oh, absolutely. Their language is not something that must be kept immaculate. At least when customers aren't about. They are, however, picking up each. I think one of their hands is able to split off into 15 very tiny fingers, and they're just plucking up all of these dirt particles and putting them in the cup, taking them, out of the crease in the eye, put in the cup to get it somewhere clean for later.
The rest of your workday kind of passes uneventfully, but you're just about to close up shop and put the kind of metal grill down at the front of the store when Are
we in a mall? Do we think?
Ooh, sure.
Because I think of Radio Shacks as being in a mall.
Radio Shacks aren't in the UK, so I've only ever heard of them via pop culture. I know what they are, but I've never seen one, and now I never will.
I'm not sure if they're still anywhere anymore.
Yeah.
So.
No.
Location, the 90s.
90s anthropology. But yes, as you're kind of putting the shutters down, there is I think a lady 6'1", part of that down to her very expensive Louboutin heels, in a fuchsia print stripe suit with padded shoulders and big kind of sunset orange shades, kind of puts a hand out and catches the grill as it's starting to the grate as it's starting to come down. It's like,
sorry, we're closed.
ah, yes, yes. You will be, at least. Hi, I am Naomi Logan. It's a pleasure to meet you both.
Can I help you?
Well, I suppose it is what you can do for me and what I can do for you. I am a member of... Oh, I didn't even think of what kind of company that this would be called. Sure, let's go and loop this in with my other work because it's easier.
Yeah.
I am from Atomicon Technologies. The Hydro Shack is one of our subsidiary enterprises. You see, I am part of their marketing department. It's a pleasure to meet you.
Then we're definitely closed.
There
Yes.
are multiple hydro checks.
Oh yes.
That's in character.
Oh yes. You're the only one in this particular state. It's been a very how to say, selective enterprise. We were unsure. We put out 1. It did middlingly, so we put out 10, and then it started losing us money. So what we're doing is that we're closing you.
Excuse me?
Oh yes. This is no longer profitable for Atomicon Technologies Enterprises, so I suppose in lieu of the actual owner of this particular establishment telling you, I have to do it myself. It's a good thing that I take pleasure in firing people. She smiles very, very widely as she click-clacks through the store and gives both of you, like, Matrix dot printed, very, let's go a bit retro future with this, kind of pink paper with kind of like firing notices on it for both of you.
Ooh, can we say it? Yeah, I like the Matrix printed, but can it be like an animated?
Oh sure,
Matrix,
it's like
not
e-ink
print,
kind
like,
of stuff. Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, in ASCII letter, in like an ASCII style word art thing, "You're fired" is blinking
Yeah.
on and
there's
off at the.
There's flames.
You've never seen a woman smile so wide. She is enjoying herself.
I take the 2 pink slips and I hand them to. Oh, sorry, I gotta remember your character's name.
Camellia.
I hand them to Camellia and I say, "You mind throwing these away?"
What will we do?
Well, unfortunately, that's not really so much of our concern. However, we do have a severance package for the 2 of you.
Maisie's ears perk up a little bit.
So, due to many instances with our stock having to be investigated for a variety of reasons, we're giving out some of the stock to our wonderful, dedicated employees. It seems that you
Our
two...
severance package is plants?
Oh no, in fact, it's better. It is, and she rifles through some notes, a delivery van, apparently. Yes.
Cannot drive.
It's surplus to requirements, so we no longer need it, and they probably haven't passed their MOT testing. So we're just going to give it to our employees and they can work it out. Here you go. She kind of rumbles around inside the blazer pocket and flicks like a pair of keys in the air. They flip over and then just kind of... Do either of you go to catch them?
I don't think Maisie does.
I mean, Camellia is definitely in shock right now. I think there's definitely an element of like, what has happened to my life? I do like the idea of like, Camellia doesn't try to catch them. I think Camellia is just looking down at the pink slip in their hand and keeping it land on top of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Is it even insured?
Instead of answering, she does this.
Is this legal?
So, unfortunately, we are going to have to go and heavily refurbish this particular thing with our new business. Pizza Czar. We're going into food service. But we are going to have to be refurbishing this.
Pizza Czar, like CZAR?
Yes. Unfortunately, the builders will be here in the next 3 minutes, and they are, as the industry term likes to put them, surly motherfuckers. So if you are still here by then, I can't really be responsible for what they do. So maybe go on a bit of a road trip. Go find yourselves. Get lost.
Maisie, is this real?
I'm not too sure. Long night last night. But if you think it is, then probably. Let's... Ugh. Did you even know we did deliveries?
I can't drive.
Oh, that's what all the orders marked D were for. Oh. Anyway.
I think with the sound effect of you going, oh, there's like a smash cut to you are now outside in the Evergreen Prosperity Mall parking lot. It is, despite it being closing time, like 6-7 p.m. It is baking hot outside, and the parking lot is entirely empty aside from this one delivery van.
And it's parked way at the back of the parking lot too, because it's like, oh, the customers need to have the close parking spots. The customers that aren't here.
Yeah.
Maisie, let me get this straight. We've been fired. We now own a delivery truck, and D did not stand for destroy.
Look, I mean, that last one, we'll have to figure it out. It seems really unlikely to me, but, new evidence coming up, maybe. Maybe we were wrong. You got the other two right. Got anywhere you need to be?
What time is it, roughly? I'm guessing if the store is closing, it's probably around 5 or 6.
Yeah. It's about 6:30 p.m.
I don't shut down for another couple hours, so no. Do you?
You want to hit the unemployment office with me?
Not really.
Okay.
Have you been to the lake downtown?
No, what? Honestly, I basically just go here.
I kept seeing advertisements for the lake in the mall as I would. I'm trying to decide, do I walk into work? Do I roll into work? Do I tread into work? You're a wheel, so I can't be the one rolling.
Only one wheel allowed.
Yeah.
At singular wheels. So
yeah.
I kept seeing ads for Rainy Lake as I walked into work, and people looked happy on the advertisements. They were always smiling. They kept holding these smaller reptile animals. They didn't have any legs, but they were very happy about holding them.
Snakes?
Fish! I'm thinking of fish. The disc ones.
Wait, have you gone fishing?
No, but the people on the advertisements looked happy when they were fishing.
Let's go. Get in the car.
Absolutely. As you kind of like open the back of the van, it seems that there's a decent amount of old stock that's still in here, including a one of the experimental mini hydroponics. So you can technically grow food out of this thing if you really wanted to.
Oh, hell yeah. Nice.
But otherwise, the world is your oyster. So I'm gonna say that Rainy Lake is actually, there's like a GPS in the car because this is retro future. And
this is the first time I've been in a van that was growing something that wasn't weed.
I mean, you have a look at this equipment, you absolutely could.
This is the first time I've been in a van that wasn't here to deliver me to the mall.
But yeah, Rainy Lake is a ways away. It's a couple cities over. So while you could drive there, it's probably a couple days' drive. And driving straight there, well, if Camilla tried to do it and passed out, that would be a bad time. And Maisie needs to eat and sleep, so... A handful of different places that we can visit, to which we have a roll table for. Whenever the scene kind of changes from the escapade you're currently on, I get to roll 3d10 and essentially randomly generate the new location to go and visit. So let's go and see what the first stop is on this journey, I guess.
Where do the sparks wander?
Roll 3d10. 10, 10, and 7. The location type. It's just London.
So glad that one got
with a river flowing through it, which London does, so it's still just London. But there's something sci-fi about it. It has a virtual reality duplicate.
Oh, interesting.
The whole city does.
So it's like a hollow network overlaid.
Indeedy.
Oh, that I like that. Yeah.
So we get a I guess like any major mall, it's like a solid drive away from the nearest major city because it's cheaper to build the building out there than within. So the drive to New London is actually not that far. There is, however,
the whole city is on stilts from when they airdropped it from the UK to wherever we are now.
Yes. Oh, this is just nebulously the West. It's like America exists and it's definitely not here, but it feels like America. Interestingly enough, actually, the distance between the mall and New London is desert. It seems that it's mostly kind of like big, wide desert lanes, the kind of like perfect black and white asphalt and cactuses kind of vibe driving between locations.
I recently watched a video about tumbleweeds, which I realize sounds really boring, but it wasn't. And apparently tumbleweeds are just the worst.
Oh.
And that they like gather up because they're all like thorny, so they all like gather up and form these like big tumbleweed monstrosities. And I think at least part of the drive is like just desperately trying to get the van over a pile of tumbleweeds, and then clanks back down on the road.
Do I just for a small period of time? I now want to explore that and make a roll out of it because that sounds fun. Yeah. So yes, as you are driving on the way there, let's see if this one works. Yeah, there is like a whooshing and a rustling sound that's surprisingly loud for how soft that is. And then you look out of the kind of like rear view mirror and it seems like a kind of like dust devil mini tornado has picked up and it's just full of tumbleweeds.
Camellia, drop the extra weight.
I don't want to get out. Maisie, I need you to drive fast. If that catches up, I have to spend so much time cleaning this van, and you know how long I had to take before we were able to leave.
It's probably a manual transmission, so you see me gear shift.
Oh yeah.
I don't actually know how manual transmissions work, but I make it go faster.
Yeah. There's this big kind of like dramatic red line like crunching effects as you shift the gear stick around. Yeah. Go and give me. I think this feels like a will roll to make this happen, Maisie. So could you please go roll me a D100 plus your will, which is plus 20.
Cool. There's the roll 20. I found it.
This is so needlessly aggressive for tumbleweeds. I'm delighted.
Do I have any? Do my traits? I don't think so. I don't think I have any traits that are relevant to this. 62, which I think is a mixed success, right?
Yeah, 50 to 69 is a partial success. So I think how this turns out is that you do actually manage to do some Baby Driver style like swerving as like you see almost as if these tumbleweeds are sentient, just kind of like rush past in like dash attacks past the car as you drift left and right.
One of them like faked me out.
A sign passes over being kind of like you are now approaching New London city limits as you kind of like put the pedal to the metal. It's kind of there is one tumbleweed that's going wide. It's going to try and cut you off at the final intersection. There's rapid cut-offs between your eyes in close-up and the tumbleweed.
I drop the emergency brake and use it to like launch because you know how the emergency brake is essentially like dropping something onto the so it's like I use it to like as like a pogo stick to launch our van over.
Yes, absolutely.
I want to throw in one more. Like when we're right near the end, we kind of get these two clusters of tumbleweeds that like roll up on either sides and then kind of like stay near us as if they're about to like ram into us. And Camellia looks around, opens the glove box, and just sees the only thing inside it is one of those big bags of what's his name, Mr. George's.
Mr. Higgins's, yeah.
And Camellia just picks that up and tosses that out the window, which gives us just, removing the dead weight from her, which gives just enough speed to have the two tumbleweed clusters crash into each other.
Yeah, all the tumbleweeds snarl into each other. They cannot disentangle. They're too thorny. As you skid brake into position, and because you rolled a partial success, you're kind of like, we've escaped. And then a bird flies overhead and craps on the windshield of the car.
I turn on the wipers and it makes it worse.
Camellia opens the car door, gets out.
And then
Maisie just has her just like bonks her head up against the wheel, and the horn is just blaring as she's just
and time passes to the next shiny new day. Everybody is well rested and up for some adventures in New London. So whenever you reach a location, there are 3 options that you can do. You pick one of them, we resolve it, and then you move on to the next place. So the options are finding work, whether that's washing cars, selling street food, or catching criminals. Someone in the location is paying surprisingly good money for rough work. You can gather information. Has anyone seen the woman in the purple jacket? Dig up key info that could lead you to finding your yearning or the next location to visit. Or shop for supplies. Restock on food, fuel, or computer components, and likely get into some trouble on the way. Under current circumstances, while Camellia can make suggestions as what you two can do, currently it is a Maisie who is in the driver's seat, I guess quite literally here. So you get final say on what the two of you do, whether you both go together or split up and do separate tasks.
I think we need to get fishing gear, right? If we're going to the lake later.
Oh, you
get
don't
like fishing pole?
That's true. Those people did have poles and funny hats. I was figuring I could use
hats are really important.
I was figuring I could use one of my hands, but you don't have one of those. That can fish at least. Camellia reveals an arm that just has all the fingers fused into a spear. A pole might be better.
What did you use that for?
It came in handy. Quick cut to like half a second of a bag marked D and then a big spear going through it.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, I think well, Maisie at least is gonna go. In that case, if you've already got what you need, Maisie's gonna go by herself to get a fishing pole and some bait.
Absolutely. So we're gonna go for the shopping for supplies. So I was recently told by Will and a handful of other my tabletop friends that there is a fishing store that is a gigantic glass pyramid.
Cool.
I don't think it's a glass pyramid, but this is, yes, the pyramid-based pro fishing shop, Bass Pro Fishing Shop, which it might be glass, but go on. Yes.
Yeah, you talk.
Okay, I'm looking at it, and it definitely is like glass or something.
Yeah, when you brought it up to me, we were doing world building for our upcoming campaign, and I was like, "What's one of the shops that's in this town?" And they were talking about this gigantic pyramid glass, and I'm like, this is fun time joke shenanigans. They're just doing big jokes. Okay, sure, that's in the city, and they all cheered, and like they're really enthusiastic about this one particular goof. I don't understand. And then I looked it up. It's like, oh, it's real. Wow.
Yeah.
So yes,
it
it's
looks
that.
like the kind of place that like a straight to DVD sequel to National Treasure would be set.
But yes.
Or The Mummy.
Yeah. In fact, I'm going to lean into that. It seems that the person who kind of like designed or developed this particular enterprise was actually like one of those old school like Egyptologists, like so fascinated by it, but also aliens. So it's you go shopping inside, but it's also like a living escape room. There are traps. There are gigantic columns.
Everything is called like King Tut's bait and tackle.
yeah. No, it's all of that. It's tacky as fuck. It's miserable in here, but you definitely can maybe find the thing that you need, but it's so maze-like in here, it might require you to kind of don your kind of proverbial Indiana Jones hat and see if you can find the crystal bait.
I think I'm looking for the way you describe this place. It probably sounds like the stuff they're gonna try to push on me is like the fancy, like the pole has a radar on it and you can send heat-seeking missiles to the fish, and I just want a pole with a string on it that has a hook, and I'm having a very hard time finding it.
There are a decent number of like shoppers milling around. Some of them, one of them specifically has like a hat that says, "I ain't got time for fucking. I'm reeling them in big." How they managed to fit that much text on a baseball cap.
Daisy is going to get a bucket hat that says, "Women want me, fish fear me."
Please get a hat for Camellia too.
Yeah. Yours would probably say,
longest rod in the boat.
Yeah. Yep. Perfect.
But yes, there's a number of shoppers around that look like they know what they're doing, and they definitely have big stacks of cash because somebody, like one of the sales clerks, was upselling this heat-seeking missile rod, and you were like, nah. And then somebody was like, I'll take 2, and you were like, oh, okay. So it seems that the people here are very rich and down to buy some fishing gear, if that is a tool that you might use to your advantage in this venture.
Right. Yeah, I think I'll probably. How do I work fishing into this grift I'm about to do? That's tough. Like,
oh,
it's not like, oh no, I'm stuck fishing. Yeah, you got one.
So what if?
Can you tell I'm not good at lying?
I know you have charm as your bottom stat, but I also know that a lot of men are stupid. So I'm wondering if you could basically try to seem like oh man, little old me, I don't even know how to fish. Won't some seasoned professional sweep me off my feet and show me?
Can someone please mansplain me fishing?
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that's what I'll do with the angle of like, I'm trying to get like a beginner's discount or something. Like I'm trying to, like, I see there's probably like a deal for, like, oh, if you sign up for the classes, you'll get 50% off. And I think I do that, but I am not going to show up for the classes later to pay for them.
Nice. Okay. Is Camellia going to teamwork assist in this particular venture? Is there a way that Camellia might try and help?
I'm not actually sure that I'm here for this scene. I'm fine being
I
here
think
for
it's
this
just
scene.
me.
Okay, cool. In that case, go and give me a your D100 roll, adding your charisma of 10 or your charm of 10, and you can also add bonus 15 because you're using your minor grifting odd job skill.
Mm-hmm. Ooh, 92.
Heck yeah, that is a full success. So yeah, what do you want to happen? It happens.
Let's say... Oh, this is actually the best. When I was in... I think it would have been in high school. I was in a Hot Topic with a friend of mine, and they had, you know those belts that are like, they're supposed to look like seat belts that they sell at Hot Topic? He would, this bad influence was trying to convince me, you know, if you just like buckle one into the other and you bring it up to the cashier, they'll just think it's one belt and they'll only charge you for one. I didn't do it because that is the worst idea I have ever heard. But I think that Maisie is able to do something similar by she ends up tying 2 units of fishing line together so that it that actually does look like just one piece. So she gets a free one there, and then I think also to only pay for one pole. I think she is just standing very, very tall, very straight, and has like just you can see just the tip of the fishing rod that she's sneaking out just above her. The back
And
of her head.
you put the hat over that.
Yeah, yep.
Nice. Yeah, absolutely. The heist from this pyramid goes off without a hitch. It's getting pretty tense. There's a point where
Oh, I do the Indiana Jones thing of my hat falls off as the door is closing as I leave, and I grab it under the
automatic doors are slowly closing behind you, and you're like, yoink. Nice. So when you succeed at rolls when you're in a town, you gain desire points. Once you accrue in a normal game it would be 7, but a mixture of this being the second game that I've run today and it running late in terms of actual time for me in the UK. We're gonna go first to 5. But once you reach 5 desire points, the next location that we visit is the place where your desire can be realized. So you are now well on your way to getting your true desire goal. Well, what's it like meeting up with Camellia after the fact, before we roll on to the next location?
I got you a rod anyway. I know you said you had the hands, but I couldn't teach you the other way.
I think this is good. This is longer than my arm, and then I don't need to worry about rust. And I can do it. I can get the fish authentically.
And Maisie has a realization right now of like, Camellia is designed to keep things tidy, and I just bought a box of worms and dirt, and I'm like,
what's in that box, Evie?
Okay, I know that every other time when there's been bugs in the soil, I've told you, we gotta change it, right?
That's true. I must keep things immaculate.
Right.
Are there bugs in that?
So fish eat bugs. Worms, specifically. So we need worms, right? To catch the fish.
I don't understand. Why do we need to feed fish? I thought we just caught them. Are we keeping them as pets?
Are you familiar with deception?
No. That was a lie. I just lied.
Very good. I think with that, time passes a little bit. So at the end of every venture in a location, there is a winding down, the unwinding phase, where when leaving a location, I'll read directly from the rules. When leaving a location, players can hold a scene of the engineer and the android as they unwind at day's end. They might be checking into a motel, sitting around a campfire, speeding down a highway at night, etc. Rolls can be made during those scenes also if you'd like to weave in a bit of additional uncertainty. Here, the android may choose to spark a memory, something about the day's events mixed and flash back to their days of service relating to one of their directives. Play this memory out as a scene. The engineer may act as one of the scene's characters if they like. So, yes, now that you've done your grand fishing heist, it is now end of day. So what are you guys doing this evening? I guess this is before Camellia's established shutting down time.
Yeah, we're in a city. What was the other thing about the city? Is that it had like a VR version of it?
Yes.
Yeah, it has the HoloNet.
Do you think it's like a shitty motel that when you flip on the holo light switch, it's a little less shitty?
It's absolutely sparse until you kind of like you put your little like key card in, and then all the walls change to a really gaudy like silver brocade. A fake 4-poster bed kind of unfurls from.
But it's still the physical shitty mattress. Ugh.
I noticed there are a lot more advertisements in the HoloNet than in physical space.
Yeah, it's cheaper. It's just, it's just data.
Oh, is data cheap to you?
Look,
It's okay. I'm used to it.
Are you?
No, I just wanted to guilt you.
Let's go for something a bit more relaxed than this.
You do?
There we go. Nice.
Yes, we established earlier when I lied and told you I didn't know deception.
No, I'm saying that's Maisie's response to you
Oh,
saying
and that's Camellia's response. Oh, you believe me. I guess I do know deception.
Haha.
Well, yeah, today's a weird day.
Yes.
You sure you're okay with losing the gig?
Well, no, but I don't really have a choice. And it's not like the job was terribly pleasurable.
Yeah.
No one's thrown dirt in my face ever since.
Not yet. Maisie sits down like she's like sitting. How do I describe this? She's sitting on the bed, but she's like sitting on the side of it with her legs off of it. So she's not like laying in the bed, she's just sitting off the side of it. And I think she's smoking like
she's got the e-cigs. Yeah.
yeah. She's smoking one of those inside. And she says, this all happened real fast, I know, but you don't have to keep coming with me. You're not my employee anymore.
No, I know. I don't really have another idea of what to do. I should go to the unemployment office at some point, but
not yet.
Not yet. And we've worked well together. Maybe that doesn't need to end yet.
Yeah. Okay. I just want to make sure.
Just as long as you don't throw dirt at me.
Wasn't planning on it.
The haze from the vape pen interacts kind of interestingly with the projected holographic effects.
Cool.
And it causes like a really hazy distort. So the light refracted in the smoke kind of puts everything in a kind of like sunsetty pinkish glow in the room as you two chat.
How old are you, Camellia?
How precise would you like?
Sorry, I know I'm not supposed to ask that. It's rude.
No, it's fine. Well, you probably don't care down to the second.
No,
Or
sorry, no,
cycles.
I don't need UTC time or whatever. Just, were you around before? And I gesture to like the HoloNet overlay. I'm like, were you around before they made all this?
Well, I've never been to Neo New London before they added the HoloNet, so I don't think so. But working at Hydro Shack is the main thing that I can remember for a while.
Me too. Well,
What a sad thing to dedicate so much memory space to.
what did you say? Sorry.
What a sad thing to dedicate so much memory space to.
Yeah. But it's a living.
Not anymore.
Yeah.
She's back.
She just comes in through the window. Hello.
Or it's like an email. It's like anytime we talk about our jobs as still existing, we get a notification from her that's like, remember, you were fired today.
Each time with a different fire emoji.
Just missing like 12 notifications.
Is there anything you would like to do in the remainder of the scene, or shall we move on to... Actually, I would quite like to take a couple-minute drink break, moving
That'd
to the
be
next
great,
day.
yeah.
But is there anything else we want to do in the scene before we take the break?
I'm good.
I don't think so.
Cool.
I think we've done some good stuff.
Yeah. The smoky haze of the vape interacting with the hollow decorations in the room switches to a kind of like a deeper glittering purple to match the night sky outside as we move through to the next day. And we'll see all of you after a couple-minute break. You are listening to Record Collection, Wandering Spark. Be right back. Welcome back, everybody. This is Record Collection, Wandering Spark. The story so far, shall we do that? Will,
We lost our jobs and went fish, and we're gonna go fishing.
Absolutely, there we go. There we go. Absolutely.
Well done.
We are currently in Neo New London, airdropped from where it previously was in the middle of this kind of like desert state. But now it is the new day.
Definite Colorado vibes.
But it's the new day, so let's go and get it's an exciting new day kind of vibe. Where are we at? Yeah, there we go. Adventure. So, okay, we're moving on to location number 2. So I am gonna go and roll 3d6. Oh, not 3d6. This isn't. 3d10. I am very used to d6 systems, I guess, in between Powered by the Apocalypse. It's not just London again. It can't.
Next we go to just Neo London, not Neo New London.
I mean, interpreting it within the space, it's basically London is large enough where you've gone to a different part of the same city, but I'm going to pick something else from the list instead. I think this is going to be a... It's a resort town. Yeah. There is some kind of maybe spa or like a it's like, ooh, it's got the kind of like natural tectonic plate kind of stuff, so you can have hot spring baths. Yeah, love that.
Ah, cool.
Nice.
It's along the coast, so this desert state has a coast apparently. We learning so much here, geography. And there is, in the center of town, a faceless chrome statue.
Huh. It's my dad.
So
I want to propose that as we enter the town's city limits, we like lower the median age of the cities significantly. I imagine it's like because you mentioned like a spa place, so I'm imagining like all old people warming their sore bones. So we probably are fish out of water.
The humidity, just the passive humidity goes through the roof also, the closer that you kind of get. If any of you, if Maisie is prone to frizzy hair, she's definitely getting it now.
Am. Yeah.
In fact, there's like a nice establishing shot of the kind of van rounding a corner, and as it goes around the corner, there's a huge geyser that like shoots up off the side of the road, not in the road. Cool. That would be a problem. And steam and hissing kind of like fills the screen, the camera, as it were. And then as it recedes and clears, we can see down the kind of like hill from where you currently are, this kind of resort town, with many kind of like actually, let's fully lean into the kind of like onsen aesthetic. There's many kind of like passionately crafted, ornate wooden style buildings that back out onto large kind of like bathing areas, with the sea kind of gently hissing in and out in the distance. The sand is kind of like it's quite pale, almost grayish from the volcanic ash that makes up the sand.
Oh, cool.
So what do you want to do?
Maisie, if I need to use any of my extra arms, I'll need you to help retract them. The humidity always makes the spring mechanism stick. And to demonstrate, Camellia sticks out one of their arms, and like, I think the spear one pops up, but the bottom one just kind of like rattles. I guess I could get this myself, actually.
No, I reach over and help, and I'm probably like a little bit swerving into the wrong lane for a second.
Oh, no, I didn't. No, you didn't need to do it now. Please pay attention to the road. The geyser.
Nice.
Also, Maisie is one of those horrible people that keeps driving past when the car has said that it needs more gas, and she's like, "Nah, we'll be fine." You can see that it's like on the
out of gas.
I don't mean to rub this in, but I think this may have been foreseeable.
You got a pair of athletic treads? We're gonna be walking for a bit.
Here we go. They open the what was it? The glove compartment from earlier, which just had the soil in it, and now there's just like a pair of Air Jordans in there.
Absolutely. The van provides.
I needed to get up to something when you were gone after I finished setting the hydroponics in the back so we could have some snacks.
Did you buy those?
Let's move on.
That's what I like to hear.
There is, I think there's an inn pretty close to where the van has kind of stopped out of gas.
Yeah, Maisie pulls out of the van one of those like portable gas can things. What do you even call that? I don't know, but you all know what I mean.
I know what you mean.
Yeah.
There's a dude chopping logs out front, just jacked as all hell, has got kind of like plaid trousers with like suspenders that are down, they're not over the shoulders at all. Just kind of sweat glistening off the kind of like pecs on the on very cleanly done kind of chest scars as they just go to town, breaking logs in half effortlessly, and eventually kind of pull a cloth from their back pocket and mop off his brow, and it's like, good afternoon.
Hey, you know where I could get gas?
Let's see. We do have a backup generator back here that runs on gasoline, as I understand. There is, however, a petrol station, or a gas station, I don't know, this isn't necessarily in America, further down the road. Do you intend to push your car? Van, it's quite a distance.
No one's gonna take it. I'm just gonna leave it. Walk myself.
Very well. If you do happen to be staying in Rejuvenation Springs, it's a very on-the-nose name for the town. It's fine. The Vita Springs. There we go. Perfect. If you are going to be spending the day in Vita Springs and you do need somewhere to stay overnight, please do consider my inn.
Great. Yeah, thank you. Appreciate
Excellent.
it.
I slept in the car last night. Wait. Retcon, no, that's right, I did.
I like that you just say that to this man.
Which is... and then Camellia turns over back to you and says, "See, I can do deception."
Yes, well.
We need to work on your oversharing program.
It is a shame that your van isn't electric. We do have a recharge point here.
Do I look like I made of money?
Very well, very well. Anyway, I please find good fortune and good spirits in your ventures today, and maybe I will see you this evening. And he goes back to splitting logs.
Camellia definitely does a little like, thank you for your assistance, with a like tiny little bow that is just like the same motion and almost the same voice line they have done like daily for years.
I think it gives like Maisie like kind of like cringes a little bit to hear it because she's like, oh, that was only 2 days, but I put that life behind me.
That felt weird. I don't want to do that again.
Yeah, no, let's not do that ever again.
Let's get that gas.
Yeah, so I guess this is this a find work, gather information, or shop for supplies kind of adventure that we're doing today? I think this is another shop for supplies adventure, I guess, if we're getting gas.
Cool. I think so, yeah.
Now, what kind of way can I make this difficult? Or what kind of hijinks do you get up to? Ooh!
I was gonna suggest if we don't have money, we could try to siphon someone's gas without them noticing.
Yes. Also, there is absolutely a biker gang at this petrol station.
Let's siphon their gas.
Yeah. I think we like get around to the gas station and then wait a second. Macy, do you have money?
She pulls out her phone and goes to the wallet app, and there's just an animation of a wallet opening and moths flying out.
with like an audible digital sound.
Yeah.
I was going to say the phone goes, "You broke!" But yeah. Yeah, there is a gang of, I think, about 5 or so big choppers outside this. For some reason, it is both a petrol station and bar. Like, those two things are things you should have at close quarters to each other.
I've been to places like that. I live in North America.
All of this biker gang have gigantic, super long pompadours. Regardless of the genders of the people involved.
I love the idea that this place is populated by a lot of old people, one hot guy, and a biker gang that is maybe passing through.
Yep. Oh no! One of the members of the biker gang is absolutely like a toothless old man, but still has like the gigantic pompadour and like a biker jacket with the sleeves ripped off.
I think the thing that media gets wrong about biker gangs, in my personal experience, is that at least one of them is going to be like a city councilman or something, who's for some reason is just also in a biker gang.
I mean, it's a good target for a midlife crisis, I suppose. Oh yes, one of the Pompadour gang members has like a business tie. Absolutely. Yeah, there we go. We did it.
When they're not looking, I take... You like do a tube, right? That's how siphoning works?
Yeah, you do a tube, and then you like get some pressure on the other end, either by sucking it or whatever, and then it'll just basically start to flow out.
So what I put the tube in the... my brain, it's gone, the word...
The gas canister.
The gas tank, yeah. And I'm about to like suck the gas out, and then I turn to Camellia and I say, do you have taste buds?
That's a great question. Selectively, I can turn them off. Why?
Yeah, you do this part.
Okay, Camellia just like grabs it, puts their thumb on the end, and gets the other end in their gas tank and just shakes it, and then puts it in. Didn't even have to put it in their mouth. To do this.
The process initially starts going smoothly until one of the biker gang members notices you, and I can't do like despite the amount of Yakuza 0 I've been playing, can't do like a punk voice at all, but they're like, "Oi!" and starts making their way over. Yeah, let's go for this. Yeah, this is I was gonna say it's a funky biker gang member starts approaching, like an earthbound enemy. Funky biker gang approaches.
Yeah.
In fact, this music is diegetic. He has a gigantic backpack attached to him with like huge like subwoofer speakers on it, and a baseball bat that seems to be kind of like humming, and there's a cable that's going from it to the backpack.
Maisie.
And he's kind of menacing you.
Maisie, do people actually do dance battles, or is that just a joke? I don't think we can...
Anybody does, it's gonna be these guys. Let's get ready.
Yeah, there's an oil canister for dramatic effect. There's just an oil canister in the middle of the scene, and he with one hand goes and hits it with the side of the baseball bat, and there's a huge like sub with a whoom, and the can just goes flying.
Home run bat.
So we'll just be heading out.
Run. We will run.
Yeah, how would we like to tackle this? Both of you are in the scene, so you can teamwork roll this. But who is taking point?
Okay. Hold on. How terrible... Dance battle might not be a terrible way to solve it. That fits with bring no harm to others. Additional arms could definitely help with that.
True. Yeah.
All right. Yeah. We can absolutely have Camellia take point if you want. You haven't rolled yet, I don't think.
Nope. I sure have not.
Is there additional like audio equipment around that Maisie could? Maisie's an engineer, right? She could.
I'm gonna say
together a bass.
Because of the good weather. There is a barbecue going outside. Again, why have the barbecues near the petrol station? This is a bad idea. But there's like some DJ decks outside. I guess this continues to be diegetic. There's somebody just in the background, just kind of like on deck. So there's audio equipment around.
Cool. So she finds a bass sitting somewhere, plugs in the...
you can just have one, because you're an ex-bassist. There's no reason why you wouldn't have your own bass guitar.
Yeah, she just pulls it. You didn't even see it in the earlier frame when she did like the earlier scene when she was facing the other way, but she somehow pulls a bass out from behind her, plugs in the... that's what it is. There's another cable hanging from the dude's subwoofer backpack. And I plug into that, like, ready to go.
Nice.
Leia reaches back, pulls out their fishing rod. Wait, puts that back. Then flicks out their arms, ready to go.
Okay, both of you are going to do a D100 roll. Maisie makes that without any modifiers because you are not taking point. With Camellia, you have 2 things about you that are beneficial to this roll. So you are rolling with a plus 30 modifier when it asks for talents.
Okay.
52 is my roll.
I hit submit. Oh wait, add trait oh, hold on, I bumped this a little bit. Okay.
Yeah, there's 2. There's the adding your like stat bonuses and then trait
stat
bonuses.
modifier is 0. Trait modifier is 30.
Yes.
Whoa, okay.
Oh, the exact same number.
The same natural result. Huh.
Wow.
82 is a full success though. So you get down. Please describe to me your multi-arm dancing technique.
Why describe when I can show? No, I think there's a lot of rotational axes that Camellia doesn't really get to use very often in terms of, can make each pair of arms swivel independently. And so, oh man, I think Camellia ends up doing this like b-boy breakdancing routine where their legs are just like kicking out and they're just rotating, like rapidly sticking down all 6 of the arms as trying to keep themselves upright, and then kind of pop themselves up and do a triple layered
all the arms cross. Nice.
Yeah, exactly.
As this routine, just talk to me about this bass playing backup that you're doing.
Yeah, I think, I'm listening to the song that we are listening to right now, and I think, like, I like the tempo of that because, like, it allows her to do kind of, like, what in a slower song would be, like, a walking bass kind of feel, but because it's faster, it's almost like kind of jogging. It's like, so it's like, it's kind of like, it's the type of thing that you would play in a song, in a jazz song that's slightly slower, but it's faster, and so it kind of has this.
We've got a fusion vibe going on. Yeah, nice. Between the camera cuts between Camellia and Maisie kind of playing, and the kind of like biker gang member who's like. And it cuts away, and it cuts back, and there's a couple of other biker gang members that are like Slav squatting behind him, and they're all going. Cuts away, cuts back, all of them are now Slav squatting up.
Good.
And by the time that you just kind of all triple cross your arms, they're all just like, ah! And the kind of music stops, and one of them goes up and kind of plants a really firm high five handshake. And they all collectively start, I guess, in each of your many hands, apply a handshake to you.
So is it cool if we steal your gas, or?
They pause.
Funny joke, Maisie. We need to work on your deception. Could you buy us gas?
10 charm.
Buy you gas? Oh man, with dance moves like that, we'd be happy to. And they dutifully go and get you a gas and like a 12-pack of beer.
Awesome.
Nice. Camellia, after successfully turning the deception tables, gives Maisie a wink that has the Game Boy Advance ding.
Aw. That's cute. Can Camellia drink beer?
I can try.
There's only one way to find out.
It's a really good image, is why I ask.
I have only been given a beer once before, and I was not allowed to drink it. The customer wanted me to hold it for them.
Yeah, I take one out and I say, well, good news. This one's really bad. And I hand over like a Neo Natty Light.
Oh.
That's Natty with a G.
Oh, well.
There's like a bug on like the design of the can has like a bug mascot on it.
Oh, this is biofuel. Acceptable.
I think it cuts to evening, and we are back at the inn with that kind of like swole innkeeper was running, and at the very least, Maisie's in the onsen out back. I don't know if Camellia can get themselves that wet without frying themselves, but then that's up to you.
I like the idea of I don't know if this is quite like sauna levels of humidity, but I do like the idea of Camellia just being there to enjoy the ambient humidity.
Can I suggest that maybe because this is a future where robots are a thing, maybe they have some sort of like they have something for you, like a protective.
Oh yeah, it's like a jumpsuit I get in.
Yeah.
Nice.
I need to take off the Jordans first.
Dutifully
make
places
sure the van is locked. That's the most expensive thing we have.
But yeah, no, you both chill in the onsen out back while enjoying shitty beer.
You know, I used to do that for a living. Well, not a living. You know, I used to do that a lot.
Steal or play bass?
Still do the first one, but the second is what I meant.
Why did you stop?
Because I got a great job offer at Hydro Shack.
Oh, they paid you enough to not need to steal?
Barely.
Well, maybe that's managerial benefits. My cost of living seems to be lower than most humans, so I was able to make do with the income, but... So, why stealing? Not as a moral judgment, just out of curiosity, what gave you the... Maybe a better question is when did you learn the skills?
Ugh, well, you know, when you're a bunch of kids trying to make a rock band work, that's a lot of expenses. You think a high school kid can afford amps, drum kits? No, we really thought the music was gonna go somewhere, and I guess it did for the others. But so we figured it was like learning to steal was like a business investment, you know, to get us off the ground. Worked for them.
Well, I mean, the skills still seem... I'm sorry, the heat must be affecting my language processors. The skill still seems to work for you, though that did almost go catastrophically.
I mean, it's supposed to be a stepping stone. I'm supposed to, it's supposed to be, I do it because I have to, and then I'm done. But
Oh.
But
interesting.
Still don't.
If it makes you feel
never
better.
even been enough.
Hey, Camellia puts an arm on your back. It's okay. If it makes you feel better, a lot of rich people steal, and they don't have to.
Yeah. Thanks.
Camellia, this would you be interested in having a spark a memory scene? Maybe something in this conversation has makes you reflect on part of your origins when you were still employed. That relates to one of your directives in some way.
Relates to one of my directives. Oh man. Oh, I just realized why Camellia must shut down at 10 p.m. This is not there's a big old motorcycle.
Oh, it's the gang. They're back.
Gang.
Yeah, the gang just sail on through. Godspeed. fellas. Anyway, so I'm realizing the directive of must shut down at 10 p.m. is not out of necessity for Camellia. I think, speaking of rich people stealing, I think whoever, like, one of the higher-ups would regularly come into the store late at night and just take whatever they wanted, basically.
Mm-hmm.
And at first, when Camellia noticed, Camellia was told, no, this is fine, I'm just inspecting the inventory. But then Camellia was recording that because they figured, oh, inventory inspection.
Mm-hmm.
That caused problems for them, so now there's a mandatory, 6-hour shutdown at night.
Yeah, there was after the third time they saw you in kind of like low power mode, just standing there, and they initially assumed you were just offline. But one instance they walked past and you addressed them and said hello, and they were like, "Wah!" Well, that never has to happen again.
Something wrong?
Hold still. And he pulls out a console and a little extending jack-in cable and plugs it into the side of your neck. There's some firmware that I have to install. Routine for all our Android employees. Hold still.
Oh, I didn't see anything about this in the
You then pass out. But with that memory you've processed through, yeah, there's no reason why you should be sleeping at 10 p.m. You can go to sleep whenever the damn hell you please. That was just a junk piece of information that was fed to you by somebody unimportant. And that directive breaks.
Oh, hell yeah.
So, two things happen. First of all, you no longer have that as a directive, so it cannot benefit nor harm you anymore. So
is that something that you tell me, or do you keep that from me, that you can stay up late?
Well, that's the interesting second part of it. So with that directive broken, you can set one of your stats, your creativity, your will, or your charm to, I believe, 35?
Oh.
Yes, once the scene ends, that directive is now broken. The android may no longer use it in a role, but they may change their willpower, creativity, or charm to 35. Describe how some of the android's true personality starts to rise to the surface. So, which one of your stats would you like to set to 35?
I think definitely charm. I think not just because I've proven to be, well, or not just because Maisie kind of sucks at that, but also because Camellia is proving to be the, if you want to maybe talk out of encounters more.
But yeah, having...
do you think they
go ahead.
like it? Do you think they like kind of being the face? Like, because I imagine that's not like a thing that you got to do a lot before.
Yeah, it definitely doesn't come naturally, and I think there's I think it's a gradual realization of, oh, when I'm speaking to people, I don't need to stick to some kind of hyper-restrictive speech book anymore. I can just say things and go with a wide variety of things that just reflect the things I want to say. And that is very freeing and empowering.
Mm-hmm.
It's cool.
Even if it is kind of like, oh my god, there's possibilities. Now I need to really think about this.
Nice. With that kind of realization, would you like to close out this scene in the onsen before we move to the next day?
Yeah. I think... Oh, go ahead, yeah.
Oh, I was just gonna suggest, that Maisie is, mid-conversation, and then she's, glancing at her watch, and she sees it tick over, and realizes, oh, it's 10. They're instantly asleep, and they just cut themselves off, or she cuts herself off halfway through the sentence because she's like, oh, it's 10. They're asleep anyway.
You can keep going. It's okay.
Huh? I thought, was it daylight savings time? Did I forget to?
No, this is something I was just thinking about, I guess, the timing was right, but the only reason I had that directive was so that someone in higher management could come and apparently pilfer inventory, considering how much of it was disappearing.
Huh.
I never wanted to have to do that, but
Was it Mike?
It's absolutely Mike.
processing. It was absolutely Mike.
God
No
damn
wonder
it,
you
Mike.
can afford better clothes than me.
It is.
Wait. Have you ever pulled an all-nighter?
All-nighter.
Have you ever stayed up all night?
Oh. No.
Quick, get the rest of the natty lights.
Is that
Get
good?
the ins N64 pay to play
Oh god, yeah.
console rolling. We're playing Smash Brothers.
Absolutely, absolutely. Oh, there's one other thing that you realise, Camilla. That secret yearning that has been kind of ticking away under the surface for so long, you genuinely now realise what it is, and you may reveal that yearning to the table.
Oh, hell yeah. I think as the two of them are lying in the bed in the inn with like Smash is paused. It is like very quietly playing some stage music.
Yeah.
Maisie, this is really nice. I've never had a safe place to call home that felt like I actually owned it, or that it meant anything to me.
You and me both, kid.
I'd really like that. Even if
Yeah.
it's just that truck loaded with hydroponics and growing snacks for, well, you.
Yeah,
It's
it is nice. It's been a blessing in disguise, that van.
We haven't been pulled over, so I agree.
It's a miracle.
So is that the
Do
yearning?
you want it after we're
Sorry, go ahead.
Do you
Wait.
want it after we're done with all this?
I think that you see a very mixed expression on Camille's face as they just kind of like stop with their mouth open. After this, yes, but what will you do?
Oh, back to find some other job. I don't know. I had experience.
Do you even have a place to stay?
Nah.
Why not stay in the truck? There's snacks that you like snacks, and there's 2 seats. I can't take up 2 seats, and if I have a lot of things to carry, I can always put them in the back. But
Maisie cracks open another beer and says, yeah. Oh, one condition. If you're gonna live out of a van, if we are gonna live out of a van, we need to name her.
Is
I think
this
you
like
get the honors.
Camellia looks at you, and for the first time you've seen I don't know if ever, but it's been a very long time. I think the last time you saw this was when you did some real act of kindness for Camellia in the past. Camellia just looks at you with these like gooey anime eyes. Oh, I thought this was relatable to humans. I'm sorry. Deactivate switch. They go back to normal eyes. I'll need to think about that. I want to make it something she can enjoy too.
Awesome.
Thank you.
So, to codify this, your yearning is a place to call your own?
I find a safe place to call home.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Oh, that was a wonderful scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I really like that.
Cool. So, some mechanical things happen now. In addition to finding that yearning now exists, there are 2 desire tracks, Maisie's and Camillea's. The points that have been earned today, well, you're now in a position to discuss who gets them. Desire points are essentially an abstract representation of the funds, resources, and information that get you to your end goal. So what you've gathered today has been fuel for the car, and that might inform where you drive next, for example, and whether that's being spent on pushing Maisie's goal or Camelia's goal, or both of your goals, is a thing that you can discuss between you two. So who gets these 2 points? You can split the points if you want.
I mean, it seems like a Camellia-centric day today, so...
Yeah, I would
That
agree.
makes sense.
Cool.
I'm winning.
Both of you are at 2 points.
Okay.
Cool. Let's head to the next day. Location 3. But yeah, this is the flow of Wandering Spark.
I really like it. That's cool.
Yeah, this is good stuff.
Do the directives for the android keep breaking?
Mm-hmm.
That's cool.
So once you break all 3, they are essentially fully their own person.
That's really cool.
Which is why the game has asymmetry to it, because the mechanics of the 2 players are different from each other.
Yeah.
No, I rolled 3D100. What? 99? No.
Wow, you built some very large roll tables.
Oh, there are some people who are into that, and not to kink shame, but not for me. The 3rd London.
OSR is basically a kink.
The 3rd London. That? Okay, I kind of like the name of something being the 3rd London.
The disadvantage to this, because initially, prior to this, to part the curtain slightly, I was like, do I want to just kind of design a bunch of locations in advance just to kind of make that process a little faster on the in-between? And I was like, nah, it's fine. I also don't have time. I'm too busy stressed about getting the tech to work. And I don't know, man. That would have been maybe a sensible idea, but this gag is also pretty funny. It's an outlaw encampment with a duelist arena. And all the workers are androids. A duelist arena.
Oh, okay.
And all
You
the...
said something about Listerine.
Oh.
I haven't been thinking about Maisie's breath at all.
And
Don't worry, Maisie. I can turn off my nose.
Just grow some mint or something, I don't know. And all the workers are androids. So yeah, I guess one of the tips that there's a little bit of a flashback to speaking with the bikers, and they mention that a particular place that you could visit or on the way to passes by their old haunt, and it turns out to be this particular place that's full of, I think, retired ne'er-do-wells. Like once you kind of do all your raising hell and sticking it to the man, you kind of you retire back here for all your kind of like to do your dance battles in peace, to train the young'uns. There's
Go
still
to
a
the bar and say I'll have the usual every night.
There's still rowdiness, you know. These are rebels, the blood endlessly runs hot. So there's always an air of danger, but
Yeah.
you wouldn't be surprised if a decent number of the people here go to the resort town you just pass by to soothe their aching bones in the onsens.
Just to quickly check, how much longer were we planning on running for?
This is probably the last location before we do epilogue based on how things are currently going.
Got it.
Perfect.
Okay, sounds good.
So yeah, fun times here. What would we like to do at this outlaw encampment now that we're here?
Yeah, it's look for supplies, and what are the other two?
Oh yes, sorry. Find work, gather information, and shop for supplies.
We might need to find work. We don't really have money aside from my Air Jordans, which I am not selling because that is important for me being able to walk places.
Yeah. Plus all the sentimental value.
Immense.
All the fan art people have already drawn of it. Can't get to them now.
I mean, when we get to the emotional backstory of how I got these Air Jordans, we'll not want to miss that.
It'll be like the Futurama episode with the dog. You'll be crying about the shoes by the end of it.
The kicks were so fresh. Yeah. What kind of work can we kind of do at this outlaw encampment?
Well, presumably dueling.
I mean,
that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
I mean, yeah. I think there's like it's kind of a squared circle kind of deal. There's a big wrestling arena in the middle of the encampment, and as you kind of like drift into town, you see a. I'm thinking like. This big, quite muscular lady posing on the corner of the ring, and then she jumps, does 2 backflips, and flying presses some poor sod who gets imprinted quite deep into the ring as she kind of like effortlessly springs back out, and you can tell that this ring is the kind of trampoline sort that Japanese wrestlers use to make it more like a high action Sentai flip wrestling combat.
Yeah.
But yeah, she stunts on him. She pops off. There's a whole bunch of people throwing chips in the air and other people yelling in frustration.
Do we know if this is a universe where androids wrestle humans, or do you think they have individual tournaments?
I think
divisions.
To answer that question, as you go up to the ring, you see that there are multiple like betting categories of human versus human, robot versus robot, and human-robot tag team matches.
Yeah,
That's great. That's great.
The man and machine category tends to be pretty popular in these establishments. I am not sure if we really have other options for ways to acquire some funds.
You say that like it's bad. This is gonna be fun.
Maisie, I cannot harm another person.
Shit.
Okay, wait. I cannot harm other people, but that doesn't mean I need to help other people who are being harmed.
You're
like,
playing defense. I get it. Cool.
I'm playing defense. I can duck, weave, bob, rotate on 3 separate axes, and that should be enough.
Let's do it.
Mm-hmm. The unrealness of the Irish whips that Camellia can do. I think the wrestler who is the Iron Badger, I think is her wrestling name. For the 5th win in the row, the Iron Badger! And everybody is kind of like... Now, up next is the Human-Android Tag Team category. who can go up against the Iron Badger and the Living Buzzsaw? And you hear grinding noises off stage, and this very wiry kind of looking android kind of steps in, big mohawk, and like
Cool.
their hand.
Is the mohawk the buzzsaw?
Oh, it is now. I was going to say their two hands were, but it absolutely is. The mohawk is absolutely the buzzsaw. They kind of do like a Dear Brando, like pose, and the mohawk spins, sparks fly everywhere. The crowd love that shit. They're going ham.
I do. Maisie does.
That's pretty cool. I'm also scared because I do not have a buzzsaw.
We got it.
It's fine.
We got heart.
I do not have a heart.
Metaphorically.
Step right up. Who are taking on this dynamic duo?
We need a name.
Okay.
2 names?
Something that will inspire fear and awe. Colony collapse syndrome. That's terrifying.
Fear and awe. Unpaid overtime.
Good.
Unpaid overtime is actually
already
a pretty good name.
Yeah. Camelia looks down, sees they're shaking. I'm already afraid, presumably, of that name.
Oh, I thought I was unpaid overtime and you were colony collapse.
Oh, ooh. Yes. Okay, I'm into this too. That's very good. Okay. Yeah. There's a man. He seems to be both the kind of like wrestling promoter and the snacks guy, in that he's got the kind of megaphone, but he's also got like the waist trolley thing with like a shelf with popcorn and stuff in it. Step right up. Oh.
Signing up. I'm unpaid overtime. That's colony collapse. Tag team match. Let's go.
Ooh, okay. We have our challengers. I guess the Iron Badger and Living Buzzsaw are up against Colony Collapse and Unpaid Overtime. Yeah, and you both kind of like square up. Humans first. But you know the androids can kind of like jump in at any time, or actually you can choose who goes first, because I guess the person who's starting first is going to be on point for making the roll. So who would like to lead?
I'll let that be you this time. I'm
fine leading the roll, but I think like narratively our strategy is that you are just dodging. You are wearing out both opponents, and then I come in when they're tired, maybe?
Pretty much. Though I do have an idea for a really amusingly shitty finisher.
Cool.
Oh yeah.
So I'll roll then. Is it willpower?
Tell me how you want to approach it, because you might be doing some crafty bullshit and be creative.
That's true. I think I'm probably trying to use the bouncy thing to my advantage. Who am I up against first?
I guess you're probably up against the Iron Badger first. Okay. They start with matching pairs, so it's not the humans don't just get a buzzsaw immediately to the face.
Yeah. So she the thing I've seen her do is the flying suplex or whatever. So I think my strategy is to use my sort of mechanical knowledge from my previous occupation to like lower the bounciness setting of the.
Oh god, you changed the torsion on the. Ooh.
Yeah. So she ends up hurting herself when she tries.
Nice, that's cool. Okay, so then you're making your D100 roll with 30 for your creativity and 15 because you're using equipment repair.
Ah, true. Yep.
Camellia, you also roll D100, but just flat with no modifiers.
79.
30.
Okay, so at 79, that is still a full success.
Sweet.
Ooh, we got it.
I don't know. Because I know that in RPGs, like, the dice are the fiction and you wouldn't roll unless you don't want to see the outcome on the other side. But let's just go and see that roll again. You know, I guess we just need to go and check to see what that roll actually was. Oh look, it exceeded 100. What a surprise! Oh no. How could this have happened?
Incredible teamwork.
So yes, you crit success because I want to have a crit success in the session.
Yeah.
But yeah, you whip ass. Tell me how you beat them handily, your tag team.
Well, you heard my first move. Do you have something, Camellia?
Yeah. I mean, so my idea is a really shitty finisher that will cement our place as heels.
Awesome. Yeah.
Okay. You want me to go for that?
Yeah, let's do it.
So, okay, I think, like, the two of us kind of, like, pair off on the two corners. Okay, Maisie, I have a plan. Just do what's natural. I'll need to shut myself off in order to do this. I'm not directly hurting anyone, so it's okay. Just...
What?
I'm going to be inert for about 10 seconds as I power cycle. Just... take advantage of it.
Oh, I got you.
And Camellia, like, starts whipping around the arena, using all of their hands to, like, bounce off of the ropes. And then you just see them get down on their hands and knees, and just, like, immediately stop moving. And you're like, what is Camellia doing? Wait! Both of these people are right in front of them. I can just push them over Camellia.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. And I think, like, before, like, it's about to work, and before it happens, like, one of your arms is still stuck out because there's still some of the leftover humidity from the last place, and I'm, like, jamming it back in before. Come on! And then right in time, I'm able to shove them over you.
I think.
Go ahead.
You shove one over, and they fall, and it's critical damage for some reason. And the second one, I think the second one, the living buzzsaw, is way less beat up, and it's about to be, like, flipped over onto their teammate when that arm pops back up and it literally flips them out of the ring.
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah, while prone, as the living buzzsaw is also kind of, like, stumbling in, and there's a shot from, like, close up of the Iron Badger, like, oh, that's the buzzsaw coming directly at me, shit, and then they get flipped out the ring and just kind of land. They land in the stands, but not near anybody. But the buzzsaw effect digs into the ground and it starts doing aggressive donuts in the concrete, and everybody's like, oh shit, backing up. But it seems our champions have been handily defeated. Our new reigning champions are Unpaid Overtime and Colony Collapse Disorder.
Torment one.
Big applause. And as the camera kind of, like,
from Iron Badger stance. Marks, I guess, is the wrestling term.
The camera kind of, like, pans up to the sky as the cheering and the hats are being thrown in the air as it moves from day to night. And we are let's go for this.
Do we do a wrap up and then an epilogue?
Well, I'm going to kind of bundle all this together, if you'll...
Cool.
So you're now driving to... it turns out that the information that the kind of, like, Pompadour punk bikers gave you before is legit. Just beyond the encampment is Rainy Lake. Cool. So you're closer than you've ever been. You're going to actually finally reach this location that you've discussed together. The prize money that you've gotten from winning that fight is actually pretty significant, and you'll probably be able to have a really comfortable holiday, if not more, out of your winnings. But there's a pause as both of you have not necessarily conflicting yearnings, but maybe a discussion to be had about how they go. So I guess this is bearing in mind that it's the first to 5, and you can split these 4 points because you got a critical success. Wow, what a surprise. Who is going to be pushed to 5 desire points. So feel free to discuss between yourselves about which yearning you want to follow up on.
I mean, I kind of have an ending in mind that, like, kind of gets there for both of us, but is, like, a little antithetical to what... Like, my idea is that, like, this ride has shown Maisie that, like, she should stop looking for just, like, the one thing that will fulfill her as a job. And she's kind of realizing that, like, oh, like, going town to town and doing odd jobs is actually what fits Maisie better. Like, she wants that, like, variety and, like, being able to, like, do a dance off with a biker gang one day and, you know, be a wrestling duo the next is, like, actually what Maisie wants to do. So if we all like that idea for Maisie, then I think that's a Camellia getting there.
Because then that's calling the van to call the place home. Sure. Yeah, no, let's have that discussion in character, and then we can kind of weave that into the mechanics on the other side.
Cool.
Are we saying this on... Are we having this conversation on a sunset dock on Rainy Lake?
Yes. With the van in the background.
Yeah.
And background, rods in hand.
Yeah. Now we just wait. Like, it's in the middle of a conversation, and I'm saying, like, no, we just wait for the fish.
I thought fish would be a bit more prompt, but...
No, this is the best part.
I don't understand billboards and advertisements, but, it's Maisie. I guess while we're waiting for fish to snack.
We got time.
So, is fighting what you want to do? You seem good at it, and I think your bass playing kind of counted as fighting against the biker squad. Is that what you're looking for?
You know, right after we won, I thought maybe. That was a lot of money we won. It was a blast, but... Ugh, then I thought about, like, doing that every day. Can you imagine day 7 of a week of doing that? Ugh, no. I'm just along for the ride. It's, Yumi and, still no name, huh? Gesturing to the van.
Yeah.
So.
What about...
Oh, no, go.
What about Horizon? It's
That's a
where
good
we've been
name.
driving, after all.
Yeah, and now we're here.
Nice.
We found it. We made it.
So one final
I like
roll
it.
occurs mechanically to read this out. So when the engineer or the android gain enough desire points, the next location they visit is where that yearning can be realized, which is Rainy Lake. The player who has the desire points makes one last roll to see how achieving their yearning turns out. This roll can be done as teamwork. The other player may spend any number of their own desire points to increase the value of the roll by 10 per point, describing how they sacrifice their own ambitions to see their partners actualized. So
I mean, that's pretty codified anyway in the narrative of, like, I have given up the entire idea of that desire of finding the one thing that'll satisfy me. So I'm spending them all.
absolutely.
2 of them, I think.
You have 4. If we do this efficiently, because you got 4 points from that critical success that
Right,
magically occurred.
right,
So
right.
there was 2 points spare, which you got. Congratulations.
Right.
Yeah. I did that bit for you, I guess, which is me as a GM kind of exerting more agency than I should. I apologize.
No, that's perfect.
But yes, so let's see how we do this mechanic. Would you like to do this? I guess I would like to signify how this goes in the future by the size of the fish you catch from
Ah,
the real.
yeah, I love that. Yeah.
So
and it's definitely Camellia that catches the first one, not me.
I like it.
So
And it's like one of those like, oh, you got reel it in. Turn the crank.
Oh, flips out arm. That wrist can just pivot freely.
Has a motor. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
even then, it's still pulling. If it's just you, you'll probably be pulled into the water. You probably need Maisie's help.
Yeah, I'm holding you steady on the edge of the dock.
Maisie, could you just roll me a flat D100, please?
60.
So, Camellia, could you please roll D100 plus... I don't know if any of your talents can come in here, but you can roll it with, I guess, plus 40, since that's all of Maisie's desire points for the final roll.
Okay, let's do it.
Yeah,
Good.
that is...
9.
We're using Wheels' roll of that pushes it to exactly 100 because it's better.
Oh, I get it. That's cool. That's sweet.
Teamwork. So yeah.
Oh, can it be a robot fish that we catch?
Please describe the freeze frame that occurs as the fish is pulled out there.
Oh, I think when we pull it out and it's a robot, Maisie is like, ah! Like, I didn't expect this.
Maisie is screaming. Camellia is like, "Oh, this is exciting again."
Yeah.
And with that, you have started the dawn of a new story, a new chapter in the lives of the two of you and the horizon. Thank you both.
That's wonderful.
For playing
Thank
Wandering
you.
Spark.
Thank you both.
Yeah, thank you.
That was wonderful.
Oh, this is a real great time. Thank you both so much.
Oh no,
Thank
absolutely.
You, viewers too.
Hanging
out.
Yeah, no, thanks for chilling with us, y'all. For having a late night lo-fi hangout, at least for me. It's 1:30 in the morning. Just before we go and wrap up, just so we tie this up how we normally do it on this show, we like to do comments and kudos. So every player kind of goes around and says, "Oh, this is a really cool thing that somebody else did." So I guess feel free to give each other the favorite moment the other player did.
Ooh, I think I really liked. I mean, Maisie was great throughout, but I think you did a really good job near the start of the game, getting things going, establishing Maisie's personality, and like reacting to things that were going on in a way that, really established Maisie, gave Camellia a lot to play off of. Still laughing at how we were able to, put the two D's together with the deliver and destroy.
Yeah, that was
very
really
good.
For you, I playing a robot or an android is always so tough because like you want that, you want the robot's emotional detachment to actually read as the opposite of that. Like in the in the line readings, you want it to be like, oh, they have this limited, they might be like monotone or whatever, but there's like a lot of feeling behind it. I think you do a really good job of that, of like keeping the robo voice, but like having all of the feeling there as if they're human person. I think you're excellent at that.
Awesome, thank you. I'm really glad to hear that.
Oh, and Nathan, the scene in the Hollow Hotel where you're describing the scene change as the night progressed, that was gorgeous.
Ah, thank you.
Yeah. Also, and like the way the smoke was affecting the wow.
The thing that I found, having GM'd this game now twice, I just like the process of making up a new location and describing how it's weird and kind of beautiful is actually I really enjoyed doing. coming up with those bits and pieces on the fly. I'm glad that y'all enjoyed it. Oh my gosh.
Yeah, it's so much fun.
Yeah. This game is available for people to purchase, should they so choose, which, you know, is neat. It is available for a whole £2 on my itch.io. Which I will link in the description. In the Twitch doobly-doo. You can go to sixofspades.itch.io to find a range of both some of my tabletop stuff and some of the weird visual novels I made back in the day. I don't know why that's there. It just is. There's one called Kenneth Rice Vampire Detective. But yes, Wandering Spark is available for you to play, should you choose to. If you don't want to pay £2, there are community copies available, or you can go to my Patreon, and if you give me a £1, then you can get that, plus all the other PDFs that I make. So, you know, technically half price, who knows, what a deal. Indeed. But enough about me selling my stuff. How about the rest of y'all? Promote yourselves before we vanish into the ether. Will, who are you? Where's your stuff? Where can we get it?
Well, you can follow me on Twitter at Raffy the Owl. You can find my games at merrymancergames.com. And I just released 2 games just a day or 2 ago. One of them is a Jet Set Radio-inspired game of Rebellion, which we'll be playing tomorrow.
Indeed.
And the other is a fun little world-building tool that helps you create interconnected worlds that feel alive. It's called New Connections. Check it out.
Absolutely. And special guest for this episode, Wheels, thank you so much for joining us.
It was a blast. You can find me on Twitter at Singular Wheels, and then my 2 main projects. I have Very Random Encounters, where a few friends and I play RPGs, and we use as much random generation as we can, and, you know, as a result, have really bizarre starting scenarios that we then build into something that you'll actually really care about. So you end up having these kind of unorthodox stories by virtue of having a computer tell us how it starts.
Yes.
That's called Very Random Encounters. Every season is a complete reset, so you can start with whatever system you want to hear. We're currently playing Star Wars, The Edge of the Empire.
I strongly recommend
really
D6
fun.
Super Team. That slapped.
That one was so good too. Yeah. Thank you. I'm glad you like that one. Yeah, that's actually probably the best one. If you liked this, that's probably the closest season to this.
Oh yeah, no, I guess so. That's probably why I was a fan. But yeah, no, all the different ones that they run are fantastic. Their Fiasco run was really good. Their Tales of Loop run was really good. Go listen. It's all cool. It's all dope shit.
You. And then my second major project is Got It Memorized, where my friend Joe and I recap. Well, it started with Kingdom Hearts, but we did all of it, unbelievably. So now we just recap different JRPGs. We've done The World Ends With You, and now we're doing Final Fantasy X, and that game's a blast to talk about.
Oh gosh,
Got It Memorized.
Absolutely.
Nice.
And to do the general current circumstances promotion, thank y'all for those who are tuning in now, in the future, and possibly in the past if you're a time traveler, to support some queer black content. Glad that there's an audience for that. Will has already beat me to pasting the link if you would like to go and support the people out there fighting against injustice and helping each other find some joy in a world a little bit more beyond rolling dice on the internet. You can go to blacklivesmatters.card with 2 R's.co, and it gives you a whole list of various places you can donate to help other people. And with that, we're going to call it a night. The second part of Record Collection concludes. Tomorrow, we bring the third and final part of Record Collection, Underground Broadcast. I have been your host, the androgynous android game show host from the future, Nathan Blades. Good night.